marsupials, as are most of the mammals native to Australia. Marsupials, the word comes from a Latin word marsupium, meaning pouch. And in larger females, the young are carried in a pouch. Now, in a kangaroo or a wallaby, we had a wallaby down here a minute ago. It's a little kangaroo. They have a pouch on the abdomen, and it's open at the top. Koalas, on the other hand, evolved from burrowing animals like wombats. Consequently, their pouch opens from the bottom, so that when they're burrowing, dirt doesn't fill up the pouch. Mama has a muscle, like a drawstring muscle, that she can close, make sure Junior doesn't fall out, and he really can't. When koalas are born, they have a gestation period of only about 35 days. When they're born, they're about that big. And they have to crawl all by themselves. Mom doesn't even help. Crawl from the birth canal up into the pouch, then attach themselves to a teat, and the teat swells to fill their mouth, so at first they can't get out away. Eventually, as they develop further, they're able to move around more. They're in that pouch for about 6 months, growing into a koala joey with fully developed legs and fur and all that kind of stuff. And they start sticking their heads out, and at about 7 months they start coming out of the pouch. Now, while they're still in the pouch, they're down close to mom's rear end, so the first solid food they get is basically mom's poop. It's chewed up, partially digested eucalyptus leaves, but that's important because they need that bacteria in their intestinal system when they start eating eucalyptus leaves. Because eucalyptus is lousy food. It's very hard to digest. It's toxic, so they can't eat too much. So that's why they spend 18 hours a day sleeping. They're what we call crepuscular. They're active for a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the evening, and they have a very complex digestive system to help deal with this diet. You have an appendix, if you still have yours. It's about 4.5 inches long on average. The same structure in a koala is 8 feet long. It's all wrapped around inside the abdomen there. They are not social animals. We've got one sleeping in this tree, and we've got another one sleeping in the next tree over, and that's typical. Here in a crowded zoo situation, sometimes you'll see two of them in the same tree. They're not aggressive towards each other particularly, but they're just not social. In the wild, they're territorial. Females have a territory, and then the males have a territory that encompasses the territories of several females. And they breed in their spring, which is our fall. They have a 35-day estrus cycle, if they're not pregnant yet. Then the males will call, make this pretty loud sound, to drive off other males and attract females. Both sexes are sexually mature, able to reproduce at about 2 years old. And the females will, but the males won't be big enough, strong enough, and aggressive enough to defend a territory until they're 4 or 5 years old. So what happens is a male, as he gets mature, will go looking for a territory, and if he can find, a lot of times it'll be an older male that's been around a while and just doesn't have the strength to defend a territory, when he'll take over that territory. Let's see, what else? They have very unusual feet. This is their feet. This is the front foot. And what's happened is this first finger has moved down next to the thumb and rotated so that it forms a second thumb. And it's actually opposable to these other 3 fingers, just the way your thumb is. So this gives them a really good grip for climbing. Their back feet, they have a big toe. It doesn't have a claw. Then the second and third fingers are covered by the same sheath of skin. They have, the claws are independent, and that's a grooming claw. And then these other two toes are opposable to the big toe, and this is what they hang on with when they're climbing. When they go up, they reach up, dig those claws in, and then they kind of jump up with their back feet, grab, and then reach and jump, and reach and jump. When they're coming down, they do the same thing, just backwards. They come down, back in first. There's 3 subspecies of koalas. One from Queensland, which is up here, which is what ours are. There's one from New South Wales, and there's one from Victoria. The Queensland koalas are the smallest koalas. Males weigh 15, 16 pounds, females around 10. The Victoria subspecies, the males get up to around 25, 26 pounds. So they are somewhat larger, and they have heavier fur because they're living in a colder climate.